We go through life convinced that we are the dominant species, but that arrogance is exactly what keeps us docile inside the pen. Haven't you wondered why your mind keeps spiraling into anxious loops, or why you feel that electric static and that heaviness in the air when you think no one is watching you? It's not just stress, it's not a coincidence. It's an extraction process. There is an invisible ecology superimposed on ours. A hierarchy of entities that the ancients knew about and that we have forgotten. They are not in distant galaxies. They are operating right now in the blind spots of your own retina. Modern science dismisses these visions, but the forbidden texts left precise instructions to hack the biological filter and be able to see them. They've been watching you since you were born. It's time to reverse the roles. Every day while you walk down the street, while you're sitting, in your office, working, or even when you're lying in bed at night trying to sleep, there are invisible entities watching you. I'm not talking about ghosts nor about demons in the traditional religious sense. I'm referring to something much older, much more terrifying, and deeply real. I'm talking about something that has been controlling humanity for thousands of years without our knowledge, a presence that operates from the shadows, and that the ancient Gnostics identified by a very specific name, the Archons. This statement may sound like science fiction, but the basis of what you're going to hear today doesn't come from modern fantasy, but from an archaeological discovery that shook the foundations of what we thought we knew about our history and our reality. In 1945, near the city of Nag Hammadi in Egypt, a farmer stumbled upon a church, a discovery that would change our understanding of the ancient world. 13 leather-bound codices buried inside a sealed jar. These were not ordinary books. They were forbidden texts hidden almost 2,000 years ago by people who knew too much, individuals who were being hunted precisely for possessing this knowledge. Among these ancient manuscripts was one particularly disturbing titled The Hypostasis of the Archons. This document describes in chilling detail a group of non-human entities that exist just beyond the edge of our normal sensory perception. According to these texts recovered from the sands of the desert, these beings not only observe us passively, they feed on human consciousness, manipulating our thoughts and emotions. And they have built a planetary prison to keep humanity enslaved in a state of perpetual ignorance. But today we will not only talk about their existence, but about a specific technique, a concrete method that allows human beings to actually see these entities with their own physical eyes. But first, you must understand that this is not a game. Once you catch a glimpse of what has been hidden in plain sight, your entire understanding of reality will shatter like glass. Every spiritual teaching you were given, it is revealed as part of a control system designed to keep you blind and harvestable. If you're ready to break that blindness and join those who see, subscribe to the channel now and turn on the notification bell. And remember, Dr. Jacobo Grinberg, in his study on the potential field, he said that everything is vibration and that consciousness is the mechanism to modify it. He maintained that our perceptual apparatus is what collapses reality. If the collapse is based on the programming of fear and limitation, that's what you'll see. The only way to see beyond is to deprogram the perceptual apparatus, and that's precisely what the Gnostics tried to do with their secret texts. To understand what we're facing, we must return to the etymological and descriptive root left to us by those who saw them first. The word archon comes from ancient Greek and means to govern, ruler, authority. However, it's vital to clarify that these are not rulers in any earthly sense. According to the Nag Hammadi text, these entities exist in a realm that overlaps with our physical reality, but remains just beyond normal human perception. They are not in a distant galaxy, they are here, in an adjacent layer of reality. The most fascinating and disturbing thing is the precise physical description that these 2,000-year-old texts give us of these beings. Types of Archons, from Greys to Draconians. The texts describe two distinct types of Archons, embryonic Archons. The Greys. The first type is described as having an embryonic or fetal appearance, humanoid in shape but incomplete, as if they never fully developed. The Gnostic scholar John Lamb Lamblash has noted the disturbing similarity between these ancient descriptions and modern reports of the so-called gray aliens. The Gnostics would say that it's no coincidence. What we today call extraterrestrials, the ancient seers identified as abortive entities, failed beings who lack the divine spark and envy human vitality, lacking the proportion designed by God, who creates a beautiful and unique universe, the demiurge, the false god. The second type is described in even more grotesque and authoritarian terms. The leader of the Archons, called Yaldabaoth, is also known by names meaning the fool or the blind one. He is described as having the face of a lion and the body of a serpent. This draconian entity is also referred to as the demiurge, a false god who created the material world as a prison for human souls. And yes, think about the magnitude of this statement. The ancient Gnostics believed that the physical universe itself, with all its limitations and suffering, was not created by the true God, but by a deluded and arrogant entity that wanted to be worshipped as God. To maintain this cosmic deception and perpetuate its energy farm, this false creator deployed an army of Archons, enforcers, whose sole purpose is to keep human beings trapped in cycles of suffering and spiritual amnesia. These texts tell us that the authorities we struggle against are not of flesh and blood, but spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly realms. An idea that even the Bible retained in passages like Ephesians 6:12. Although the full context was suppressed, historical evidence suggests that there was a systematic effort to destroy this knowledge. The Nag Hammadi texts were buried around the year 350 AD, precisely when the Roman Empire, newly Christianized, was hunting down and exterminating the Gnostic teachers. The system has worked tirelessly to marginalize this information, labeling it as heresy in the past and as conspiracy theory or madness in the present. And yes, think about it this way. If you tell someone that you see ghosts, they might be curious. But if you tell them that you see invisible entities that feed on human consciousness, they question your sanity. That's social conditioning at its finest. It's the mental equivalent of an error pop-up in your browser telling you to close this tab and go back to your comfort zone. The real danger is how they manage to hide in plain sight, taking advantage of a specific weakness in your own biology. To understand why these entities have remained invisible, we first need to understand how your perception of reality actually works. There is a fundamental misconception that your eyes work like video cameras that transmit an objective image. Nothing could be further from the truth. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what ancient mystics knew. Your brain does not show you reality as it is, but rather a rendered and simplified model of it, designed exclusively for your biological survival. We live immersed in an ocean of frequencies, but our five senses are calibrated to capture only an infinitesimal fraction of that spectrum. Imagine an old analog radio. When you tune in to a specific station, you hear the music clearly. That doesn't mean the other stations have stopped existing. They're still there occupying the same space, but you can't perceive them because your receiver isn't tuned to that frequency. The Gnostic text suggests that the Archons operate in a bandwidth of reality adjacent to ours. They're right here, sharing your room. But they exist at a frequency that your brain has learned to filter out and dismiss as irrelevant background noise, This filtering isn't an accident, it's a mechanism, it's a mechanism, it's a mechanism.
Y según algunas
It's a mechanism. Intentional genetics. If your brain processes absolutely all the sensory information it receives every second, we collapse instantly. To keep you functional, sane, and productive, your mind acts like a reducing valve. It actively eliminates everything it doesn't consider vital for eating, reproducing, or avoiding immediate physical predators. The problem is that this filter is so efficient that it has left the real predators out of our sight, allowing them to move with total impunity in the blind spots of our conscious perception. This is where I want to pause and ask you to reflect on your own experience, because it's likely that your brain's filter has momentarily failed in the past, and you have rationalized it. Have you ever been alone and suddenly felt an inexplicable heaviness in the air, as if someone were standing right behind you? Or have you seen out of the corner of your eye a quick, dark, fluid shadow that instantly disappears when you turn your head? Most of us dismiss these events. We tell ourselves that we're tired or that it's just a trick of the light, but what if that's not the case? If you've ever had that gut feeling of being watched or noticed those fleeting shadows, I invite you to share it in the comments later. Society and culture aggressively reinforce this biological blindness from the time we're children. We're trained to focus exclusively on the material, on what can be measured and touched. When a child says they see something, adults quickly turn on the light and tell them there's nothing there, reprogramming their brain to ignore subtle signals. We've come to believe that if we don't see it with our central focused vision, it doesn't exist. However, science itself tells us that the spectrum of light visible to the human eye is less than 1% of the total electromagnetic spectrum. We are literally blind to 99% of the universe around us. It is within that vast invisible portion of reality that the architects of this reality hide. They take advantage of the limitations of our biological optics. But let's remember a few things first. Did you know that the human eye is designed for two main functions? Well, yes, just like a camera, your eye processes and stores images. Your retina is not a homogeneous surface, but rather operates through two different image capturing systems. The first, the cone system, is concentrated in the center of your retina, in the small depression called the fovea. The cones are responsible for your daytime vision, color perception, and crucially, for high resolution and detail. This is the mode you use to read a contract or look at your phone screen. A narrow and analytical focus centered on solid illuminated matter. The second, the rod system, covers the vast majority of your retina, surrounding the central area. These are the sensors for night vision, motion detection, and peripheral vision. Unlike cones, rods don't see color or offer much detail, but they have a sensitivity to light thousands of times greater. And they're connected to the oldest and most instinctive parts of your brain, the ones designed to detect predators lurking in the bushes. Now, the educational and work systems force us to live in central focus mode. We have poured all our neurological energy into detailed vision, letting peripheral vision, which is the oldest and most sensitive to subtle energies, fall into disuse. The Archons camouflage themselves in that gap. They are not invisible in the strict sense. They simply have a vibrational structure that doesn't reflect light the way a table does. They are more like a patch of heat or static interference on a screen. Your brain, since it can't categorize that information as a known solid object, simply decides to erase it from your conscious awareness to save energy. Literally, they edit their presence out of your mental movie in real time. But the deception has a technical flaw, a backdoor in our own anatomy that they couldn't completely close. There is a way to bypass the brain's filter and temporarily reconfigure your eyes to pick up those forbidden frequencies. You don't need external technology, you just need to understand how the rods and cones in your retina work. By hacking your own visual biology, you can tear the veil and see what has always been there, waiting for you in the shadows. The time has come to leave theory behind and move into practice. What you're about to hear is not a guided meditation to help you relax, it's a precise physiological protocol. A hack of your own biological hardware designed to deactivate the censorship filters your brain imposes on your visual perception. The secret is that the Archons don't have enough material density to stimulate the cones in your central vision. If you try to look at them directly, they will disappear. Your brain, not receiving data about color and solid shape in the fovea, the center, assumes there's nothing there and edits the image. It's a process of mental autocompletion. To see them, you have to learn to turn off your central vision and transfer all your neurological power to your peripheral vision, to the rods, because it's at the edges of your vision where the veil of reality is thinnest. So follow these steps. Preparing the environment. You can't do this in broad daylight or under intense artificial light. The ideal setting is a dimly lit room, preferably illuminated by a faint and indirect light source, like a candle placed behind you. You need to create an environment with soft shadows where your brain can't instantly define every object, forcing it to enter a mode of environmental scanning. Diffuse fixation. Sit comfortably with your back straight and fix your gaze on a neutral point in the room, an empty wall, or the air in front of you. You must resist the biological urge to focus. Relax your eye muscles until your vision becomes slightly blurry and your field of view seems to expand. Immobility and calibration. You're not trying to see anything specific in front of you. You're opening your lateral radar. Keep your gaze soft and diffuse. Make it enjoyable. Don't move your eyeballs even a millimeter. Breathe slowly and rhythmically to lower your brain waves from beta, alertness, to alpha, relaxation, and receptivity. It's in this visual silence where you'll start to notice the flickering. The Archons initially manifest as glitches in the visual matrix, like a glitch in a video game. The first thing you'll notice will be an unnatural movement in your peripheral vision. It won't be smooth, but rather spasmodic, mechanical, and extremely fast. You'll see shadows that aren't cast by any physical object, patches of denser darkness that seem to slide or jump. Crucial. If at that moment you make the mistake of turning your head to focus that shadow with your central vision, it will disappear immediately. You must maintain strict discipline. Observe them without looking at them directly as they deepen. These shapes may become more defined. Silhouettes that appear humanoid, but with disproportionate fetal shapes described in Hammadi, or amorphous masses that contract. Sometimes, just a transparent turbulence that ripples through space. It's at this critical moment that most people lose control out of fear. Fear is precisely what these entities are waiting for. Let's remember that they feed on low frequencies. If you react with terror, you're serving them an energetic feast and confirming your position as prey. The technique requires you to maintain the position of a cold, detached scientific observer. You are not a god. You're looking at a cosmic tick, not a demon, or something invincible. Maintaining this mental hierarchy is beneficial. Observation should be an act of sovereignty, not of submission. And maintaining that mental discipline, sovereignty in the face of panic, is the real challenge. The mind used to drama will try to sabotage you. The only way to maintain a state of detached observation while witnessing the forbidden is to train the mind in emotional stillness. This is where consciousness training comes into play. You need a library of resources that teach you how to stay calm and focused, even when your reality is breaking apart. Audible gives you access to this mental armor with a 30-day free trial. You'll be able to dive into texts on stoicism, deep meditation, or the neuroscience of calm that will give you the tools to maintain sovereignty in the critical moment. Don't let fear send you back to the cage. The truth sets you free, but discipline keeps you free. Use the link in the description and get ready to observe without reacting. With Audible today, seeing them externally is just the first layer, and in many ways, the least dangerous. By mastering this technique, you realize that the shadows in your room are simply the field operators, the drones patrolling the perimeter. The real danger, the real control operation, doesn't happen in the dark corners, but in a much more intimate place, your mind. By tearing the visual veil, you inevitably begin to tear the psychic veil, and that's when you discover that the invasion is not just environmental, but mental. The Gnostic texts describe this phenomenon with precision. They don't talk about theatrical demonic possessions. They talk about something much more insidious and harder to detect, called the anti-mnemon pneuma, which translates as the counterfeit spirit, or the spirit of imitation. According to these documents, this is an artificial entity, a kind of parasitic interface that attaches itself to the pure human soul. It works like a secondary operating system, a malicious software running in the background that has a specific function: to imitate your inner voice so perfectly that you can't distinguish between your true consciousness and the parasite's programming. Think about it carefully. You have a voice in your head that narrates your life incessantly. You assume that voice is you. You say, I think, I fear, I desire. But the Archons operate precisely in that mistaken identification. If you are the being who is listening to the voice, who is the one who is speaking? Modern neuroscience confirms that more than 95% of the thoughts you have in a day are automatic, repetitive, and unconscious. You are not thinking voluntarily. The thinking is happening to you. This is where the most powerful tool for detecting intrusion comes into play: the loop signature. To differentiate between your original mind, which is an extension of creative divinity, and the predator's mind, which is mechanical and sterile, you must analyze the structure of thought. Real human consciousness, the divine spark, is by nature creative, expansive, and linear, in the sense that you seek solutions, create art, and move toward new understandings. In contrast, archontic thought is always circular. It operates in closed loops that lead nowhere but paralyze you and drain you emotionally, repeating the same catastrophic images or past mistakes without offering resolution. That is the signature of the loop, the proof of a foreign insertion that keeps you anchored in psychic friction, while your true essence always seeks expansion and knowledge. Analyze your moments of greatest anguish. When you worry, are you solving the problem, or are you simply repeating the same catastrophic images over and over again in a carousel of mental torture? When you feel guilty about a mistake, you either learn or replay the scene hundreds of times, forcing yourself to relive the pain without offering a way out. That is the loop signature. These loops are not system errors, they are design features. They are specifically built to generate psychic friction. In the metaphysics of the Archons, emotional friction generates lush, a form of dense low-frequency energy that these entities consume. They lack a connection to the original source, so they can't generate their own vitality. You are the generator. Your suffering is not accidental, it's their dinner. This mechanism explains why it's so hard to break free of negative habits or intrusive thoughts. You're fighting against an entity that knows your psychological weak points better than you do, because it's been studying your file since you were born. They use your unresolved traumas as a direct access point. If you're afraid of abandonment, they'll generate constant scenarios where everyone leaves you. They don't care about the content of the drama, They only care about the intensity of the emotional reaction it provokes. By infecting us with their mentality, they try to turn us into replicas of themselves, cold, mechanical, and obsessed with materialism and domination, cutting off our connection to empathy and higher intuition. The most terrifying thing is the colonization of the pronoun I. When you say, "I am depressed," you are accepting possession. You are validating that this emotional state is your identity, but the moment we detect the loop, the moment you realize that the obsession is mechanical and foreign, a critical failure occurs in its control system. Recognizing the imposter voice is a definitive step. You understand that you're not crazy or broken, but under constant psychic attack, the inexplicable depression, the sudden anxiety, the self-destructive thoughts. All of these are symptoms of the activity of the mimicking spirit trying to drain your energy. Now that you know how they operate, you have the tactical advantage. You're no longer blind prey, you're a conscious observer. The temptation is to enter into open warfare. But that's the most common strategic mistake. Fighting with anger or fleeing in terror creates frequency spikes, and the intense low vibration emotion is their food. The real defense, the only one that truly works and leaves them powerless, is a counterintuitive technique. Emotional invisibility through radical non-reaction. You must understand that the power these entities have over you depends entirely on their ability to provoke you. If they send out a fearful thought and you receive it with panic, you have reacted and fed them. If they send out a suggestion to get angry and you hit something, you have reacted and nourished them. Non-reaction is not suppressing the emotion, it's denying them the fuel, it's detecting the loop, naming it, "This is not mine," it's anti-Maiman Numa, and remaining calm, watching how it disintegrates. You have a body, emotion, and consciousness. They only have the ability to imitate. By refusing to turn your vital energy into lush, you not only stop feeding them, but you also disconnect the circuit. If you've reached this point, you've made the conscious decision to leave the farm and to name the parasite. This is the mark of a true modern Gnostic. I want us to seal this teaching with a declaration of mental sovereignty. Comment now, "My consciousness is inviolable." That is your declaration of sovereignty and the command to disconnect the loop. Seeing them on the wall with your peripheral vision is useful, but seeing them in your mind is liberating. You understand that they are not invincible, they have simply been invisible. Now that you know anxiety is a loop, that the heaviness in the air is a signal, and that your mind can be hacked to see what is hidden, the only power you have left is conscious choice. Are you going to remain under the farm's hypnosis, or are you going to keep it? For the discipline of non-reaction, the greatest defense against the anti-Maiman Numa is not fighting, but raising your own vibrational frequency to a point where the parasite cannot resonate with you. The next step is to learn how to generate that frequency of coherence that makes you, literally, invisible to their attacks. We are not suggesting that you watch another video. We are guiding you toward the natural continuation of your liberation. Click the button on the screen right now and follow this path of liberation. Your body is the technology. It's time to use it. Click and I'll see you at the next revelation.